That straddle. Are those pants gonna blow?
Let's get it on.
Action. What was that?
That was like the... We're here! They can't see the...
Don't shout too loud. People start calling fire stuff. Okay, guys, we are on the top, quite literally the top of the Oakland Realty office, roof of the roof, if you will. And today we're here to spit some knowledge on you on depreciation reports. Isn't that right?
Yes, so depreciation reports, we didn't want to give a market update this week. We want to go something a little bit more fundamental that you're going to see out there when you're buying into condo buildings, which is a depreciation report. A lot of you, if you've purchased, I think I should have looked this up. From memory, they've been out, not mandatory still, but they've been out here and at least promoted to get done by Stratas for the past, I want to say 5 years. And what it is a snapshot of the building at that time, which paints a picture of the life expectancy of each system of the building, anything from the door handles on the front door, to the roof, to the envelope, the common hallway carpets, absolutely everything, a life expectancy of that, and where it currently is at within its life expectancy. So the value of this depreciation report is to paint a picture for you, a snapshot on that day, so you have an idea of where all the systems are in the building and where they all lie in their life expectancy.
Yeah, so this is going to be a document, guys, that you're going to get through along with your Strata Documents, so the minutes, along sometimes with an engineer's report, a copy of the bylaws, AGM notices, things like that as well. This is going to be part of one of those documents. And like Jay said, it's literally a breakdown. What a lot of people have a fear of is going by this is like, this is a rule, this is the gospel. So people can get a little too fearful of what a depreciation report says, and it's just quite that. It's a life expectancy, and so if something was installed in 1980 and it has a 30-year lifespan, they will note that it would likely be need to replaced in 2010. However, if there's not something wrong with that particular element, they're not going to replace it. It's just to give you a snapshot of when things have been installed, when it's likely they're going to come up, but it doesn't mean that the whole building is going to fall down in like the year recommended. It's just to guide you on where it's likely going to be in and around.
Yeah, so like Ben said, just because it says something expires on a certain year, let's say that's next year, doesn't mean you have to replace it or repair it. It just is the assumed life expectancy of whatever that thing may be. So typically in stratas anyway, like all other big decisions, these are done by way of vote. So if something is failing at that point, if that's 2 years before this life expectancy or 5 years after, that's the point, of course, when the vote will take place and there's a need to repair or replace any given thing in the building. I find a lot of people, specifically first-time buyers that haven't dealt with any sort of this thing,
That's my bad.
they haven't seen this sort of document before, they see it, like Ben said, and think, oh my God, this, and this are all gonna break down in the next 3 years. I'm gonna be an owner at that point and I'm gonna have to outlay all this money. And that's not what it's for, and that's not the reality of what the document's telling you. It's giving you a basic idea, again, of the typical life expectancy. Fellow owners in the building are the ones that you're gonna be collaborating with to make those votes and make those decisions if something is ever gonna be needing money, be it from the contingency or by way of assessment to each owner. However, again, your fellow owners decide to go about it. But this is a report that's a great snapshot of the building and what you're getting into, but not something to be scared of, to show you exactly when these things are going to expire. There's more to it than that.
Yeah, you'll even find, especially with some of the bigger jobs, proactive strata groups, they've already, if there's like a big job which they expect to be coming up, they would have been proactive in terms of maybe a maintenance fee was increased for a certain amount of time, or they're planning to recoup that money in some way, shape or form. And so basically there may be a big job coming up, but and this is partly our job as realtors, is when you further read that, they've already been preparing this. So it's not uncommon for the more proactive groups for you to see something's going to be coming up in the next 2 or 3 years, but they're already taking the measures in place. So when that comes up, it's not going to be in the form of a special levy or an assessment. It's going to be taken out of a CRF fund that everyone's been contributing a little bit more to over time in order to reduce that cost, or even just take it completely out of the CRF fund. So there's more to it than just that snapshot that you'll see, especially the proactive ones. And again, that falls down to us to kind of guide you through and to read you through those documents. But it doesn't necessarily mean if something is coming up in the next 2 or 3 years, or even the next year, that you should panic and run away from that building, because the reality of it is everything in a building is going to expire at some point. It needs to be replaced. It's just the lifespan of the material. It's just looking at what has been done and what is likely coming up and what the plan is in place for those. Making sure all of those things align and making sure you're happy with that decision.
Yeah, and it's a really good thing because not all buildings have it. They can vote to do it or vote against doing it. From our perspective, it's a very good insight into the building, of course. And again, for a building to be remotely proactive, this is kind of the first step. Them spending X thousand dollars, whatever it costs, to the engineering company to come in and do everything. But what that does from the resale perspective, when owners inevitably decide to sell, is again, tell new owners and their agents exactly where things in the building are at, and then you will see typically from the ongoing minutes that you'll be looking at how those details are following through from the engineer's report or the depreciation report. Sorry.
Yeah, and as Jay said, it covers everything from the very small minor to the very large jobs as well. So there's of course certain things that you should look out for. Like one of the things we look out for is rain screen, the condition of the roof, the plumbing in the building. Those are obviously going to be more relevant and more costly to look at versus a guardrail of a south stairwell, which is going to be replaced for like $500. So they each have certain elements that you need to look at in terms of your risk. So there are of course ones that we look at more predominantly, and there are some on there which are, to be honest, even if they're going to be done in 10 years or a year, are not going to make too much of a difference to you at all.
Yeah, and it's really, for the first time buyers in this, it's really good to see, and I know it can be daunting, but as agents, again, we've got our checklist of most important and most expensive repairs and going down that list. So we help you through that process, of course, and tick off where the bigger jobs are, and if they've already been done, great, and if they haven't, what you can expect. And then with all of that information collectively, that's when you make the final decision if this is the investment worth buying.
That pretty much sums up its depreciation report.
That's it.
Nail on the head. We're going to get down from this roof.
If you have any more questions,
please.
Feel free to message us direct, comment below, email, or direct message us online anywhere you see this video, and we'd be more than happy to discuss anything there, or of course sit down with you and go through everything.
Yeah, and don't forget guys, shoot us a follow all on social media as well. We are McInnes Marketing on Instagram, Facebook, Real Benjamin Robinson on Instagram. You are?
I'm Jay McInnes.
And also check out on Instagram and Facebook Vancouver First Time Home Buyers for you cheeky new first time home buyers out there.
Yeah, this is a new service that we're focusing on right now. We've actually got our first
seminar,
first time home buying seminar, obligation-free seminar, which is now full.
Yeah, overbooked in fact.
Yeah, coming up on the 30th of this month. We're going to be doing that every month. You can keep in touch with those dates through the Vancouver First Time Home Buyer Instagram account. And again, if you have any questions about that seminar and what it consists of, feel free to reach out direct.
Thanks guys, until next week.
Bye-bye.
Let's get it on.